Did you know that when ESON was first data mined, it had this crazy text box? And in today's community battle, we're gonna get a little taste of what that might have looked like, because every card in your starting deck has to have a different power. This community battle is called Distribution of Power, and I thought it might be fun to do my deck construction and brainstorming session here with live commentary. So that is how we are kicking this video off, and the first thing to think about is a deck in Marvel Snap is 12 cards, which means if you want to fill it out, I mean, you could just go 0 through 12, and that would basically be your entire deck. There is only one 11 power card in Marvel Snap, and I kind of don't want to play Orca, so that more or less is going to determine what you're able to play in your deck. You are able to kind of skip one thing. I already mentioned 0 because there's a bunch of zeros, but we will probably wind up playing Gore. I think a lot of people will probably just wind up playing Gore. And I also think that this restriction is kind of interesting because once you get to the higher powers, I mean, this deck is going to have a pretty high curve. And so one of my first thoughts is to make a Hela deck. If I do start off with a Hela deck, I might also try to make some other things. One thing that Hela does allow you to do is also put in Infinite and Giganto, and that allows you to potentially have more flexibility in the other parts of your curve. But at the very least, I know I'm going to start off this format with Gore. I could also see obviously playing Hobgoblin and Green Goblin, or playing Hobgoblin and the Hood, or even just playing the Hood. A lot of the synergies with the Hood will compete for space. However, you could play Annihilus. That could be a reasonable card. How much power does Annihilus currently have? 7. So that's going to compete with like a Legion, but otherwise I think it might be reasonable to make an Annihilus deck work. It's been a while since I've played with Annihilus. I don't think I'm going to go for that initially though, and I honestly think that I do have a pretty good read on a few different cards that might be good in Hela. Iron Man is now a Hela card, and it's probably the best 0 to just snag unless we want to go for Blob, and then maybe also have a sort of ramp strategy in here. That's not terrible. One other thing you could consider for zeros is Adam Warlock, just to help you draw your Hela. But the main reason that I actually think that Hela is good is because being able to play Jubilee as your 1-cost card, I do think could be pretty strong. Dracula is another reasonable 1-cost card that I honestly could see making a case for, especially in a Giganto and Infinite deck, because that allows you to play some other high-powered cards. However, Dracula doesn't work with Gore or Iron Man. It doesn't work with 2 of the cards that we've already got in the same way that Jubilee does. And do you think that Jubilee, we looked at Blink already, and so this is all I've already looked up until this point, and I've done a little bit of brainstorming off camera as well, but this is basically where I stopped when I realized that there's a few different 2s that look good, and I think that this is where I'm curious to hear some feedback from y'all, though by the time you are seeing this video, I've probably already played the event. Maybe I will put this video out early, but I will probably just put it out after the event has already taken place on like Saturday or something. So Black Knight, I do think, would make a lot of sense in a deck like this. I don't think that we lose any key discard cards necessarily, but we would lose out on Magic. Magic could be a good card to play, and then Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross is also a pretty nice Hela card. Both of those give you more consistency in a way that I don't think Black Knight does, so I think I'd rather play for one of these 2. Which of them, I'm not super sure. 3 power cards, I think it's probably going to wind up being Blade. We can take a look. There's also Gambit, right? But that's probably it. It's probably just between those two. I'm really hoping that some of the other discard cards have varied power. Colleen Wing does not help us for this strategy. Ooh, Esme. Oh, that's kind of wild if Esme is just a good... Because all of our other cards are either going to be... I mean, this could help on the consistency angle, right? Huh. I mean, I'm kind of down to just play Esme just for no other reason than we get to play Esme. Honestly, it's looking pretty good. Okay, I think Esme has made a case, and now on to 5s. Could play Baron Zemo, with everyone having a higher curve, kind of being the expectation. Baron Zemo could be good. We could also have Corvus Glaive or Ghost Rider as interesting discard options and backup reanimation options. Are there any other discard cards? Yes, we have access to Silver Samurai, and honestly, I feel like Silver Samurai might just be important targeted discard. We can use it to discard Iron Man or Gore or Jubilee, and it will never hit Hela. And I think that that might be an important angle here. I think we're going to wind up building a Hela deck and a non-Hela deck. 6 cost cards, unfortunately, cannot grab the first Ghost Rider. We have to grab Hela if this is our game plan. Blink is also a pretty straightforward one to be able to blink Jubilee, maybe even Esme. We do still have a 2 cost card, or a 2 power card that we get to throw in here. So let's not forget about that. On 8s, we have Odin. Yeah, it's probably just going to be Odin for Jubilee. Odin works better with... I mean, maybe then we do go back to playing Magic, because we're not playing Corvus, but Odin with Magic could work. We do have Eliath. We do have a Living Tribunal. And this is why I said decks can get really expensive in this format, because we... like baseline, have to include at least 2 cards with 9 power or more, and that's just going to make the curve of every single deck really get up there. Now, with Hela's current wording, it reanimates a card of each different value, and that does give me some inclination to try to get Scar. I feel like I need more discard, which is crazy. The only other angle that we haven't really explored is you could go, oh, wait a minute. Oh, they nerfed MODOK to 7 power. That's absolutely critical in this deck. If I could have cut Odin and played MODOK, I really don't want to cut Blink for MODOK though. So I'm just a little bit worried that we're a little light on discard, and honestly, that might make this deck really tough to play. If there's no 4 power card that gets us some discard, the 4 power card would have to be like Absorbing Man, which seems very specific. I don't mind cutting Esme though. Prodigy and Colleen Wing. That's it, huh? So it could be Absorbing Man. It's not totally unreasonable. And Grandmaster to 3 power, also a bit of a bummer, because that might have been the best 2 over Magic. I do feel like Magic's a little bit of a liability in a format where everyone is upping their curve. I might not just... You don't want to be the one to play Magic, and if your opponent's also going to play Magic, then you kind of get the shaft in that situation. So we can still put in an 8, and then we would also have to put in a 9. But Magic's a great card to blink. Esme's also a good card to blink. So I don't hate some of the things that this deck is doing still. Silver Samurai can discard, Iron Man and Gore. Blade, wasn't there another card that people were playing with Hela? There probably is. Oh, it's Sword Master. That's a 3/7, right? Swordmaster to discard odd cost cards. I don't even see that. You can't play Hell Cow where is Swordmaster? I don't even see that card. Let me just take a look at all discards. Oh, Swordmaster's down to 6. Oh, that's a bummer. So Swordmaster's out. Oh, Lady Sif is a 5. Oh, so I can either play Lady Sif or Silver Samurai. Yeah. Silver Samurai almost seems better in that it can either hit Iron Man or Gore, whereas Lady Sif, I would really just be playing it to hit either Scar or Death, but I can only play one of Scar or Death. So Silver Samurai does actually seem significantly more consistent here. Oh, Moon Knight, but Moon Knight hits even, so that can always hit Hela. Yeah, okay, this is actually looking a little bit awkward, which is cool. I didn't want this to just be a super straightforward deck to play. If Hela is only getting me one thing, how good is it? I think it could still be good enough to work, to be totally honest, because I think we fill out this deck. I think our 8 is Odin to re-trigger Jubilee and Blink. And then I think we look for the biggest and baddest to hit with Blade, which is potentially going to be like Infinite Scar, Infinite Red Skull. We could play something a little bit lower to the ground. We could play Hellcarrier. We could play... we could play a 9. I don't know if I'm super in love with that. Let's also double check this. -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so we can definitely throw in an Infinite. That makes a lot of sense. And then the final card, you don't want that to be an Agatha. That doesn't make any sense. You possibly just want it to be a Red Hulk, a Hellcarrier, an Agamotto, which is deck thinning and potentially gives you a little bit of interesting playability with the ramp. I don't know if I like making my deck bigger, though, in a Hela deck. I certainly have to think about Agamotto, but it might be good. I'm trying to think of all of the uses that bolts could give us. I'll move myself over here. I'm covering up some cards either way, but I'd rather not cover up the deck list, I don't think. I think I'm going to go for Agamotto as the final card inclusion. But I could see, I gotta think about like uses for the images is good with Jubilee, though do you want to be hitting images off of Jubilee? That might talk me out of it. Do we have enough Esme cards? I mean, that's the trick, is like, how good is Esme really when you have to play Infinite in your deck to make that work too? There's not going to be anything else that... Oh, you know what would actually work is She-Hulk or Sasquatch along with Esme. Because then you could still potentially cheat out the Sasquatch, and maybe that's interesting. Living Tribunal does work with Esme too. You get the ability. I think I'm currently leaning towards... I mean, just Magneto can really mess people up, though. In this format, will it be a lot worse? Do we just go Giganto? Do we just play the biggest card? And another awkward thing, I guess, I could go like Red Skull for the very specific reason that if we're only discarding 2 cards with this deck, Blade and Silver Samurai, with Blade and Silver Samurai, Silver Samurai can discard Iron Man or Gore. Blade is typically only hitting a 6. So do I want a 5 that would be good to discard like Red Skull? I feel like it's fun because it follows the restrictions of the format in an interesting way. Let me take a look at the other 2s just to make sure we're not missing anything crazy. Any fun synergy. I can't imagine something is really going to dictate my plays too hard. I do think Rogue is reasonable if we want to just build a tech deck, just because Gore is the first card I added to my deck, so I'm assuming it's the first card that other people will add to theirs as well. Zabu, not really playing any 4s. Mirage, I don't think that's helpful enough. I think I like Magic, and we go for this full combo route. And I guess I will play, you know what, it's silly, it's fun, let's throw in Red Skull.
So we are going to start off with this Hela deck, though I will play other decks. You have to win 3 matches, so we'll try to win with 3 separate decks. That's usually what I like to do for these community battles. I don't know if Untap will be able to load up for this game. All of my big cards are not going to be able to get hit by Blade now that we've drawn Hela. That's a bit of a bummer. Could still discard Iron Man. Oh, they are playing Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. That definitely implies a pretty similar strategy, which is why I kind of said, like, playing Magic just also gives it to my opponent if they are playing the exact same thing. This is right at the start of the event, so we're only playing against other people that have prepared, and that could mean a little bit more Hela, though it could also mean, yeah, we're potentially looking at the exact same deck list with a slight substitution here with Thaddeus instead of the other option. We do get to Silver Samurai and then Blink it. Did I leave myself any other Blink targets? Yes, Gore. So this will discard Iron Man, turn into Gore. I don't think it's going to be enough. Yeah, my opponent playing the exact same list here. That is just Jubilee into Blink, which gives them Hela. So I think we just snap this game. Like, what are they doing now? Oh no, wait, yeah, I discarded their Gore, which is a good thing because they have not yet, they've already played their Hela, so that's actually brilliant for me. What did I say this gets? This turns into Gore, so let's Gore for it. And I could just Blade Red Skull on the final turn. I mean, we do need to find a way to put power at other locations too. Maybe I split up my Blink. Yeah, my opponent, a good sport here, gonna snap, and it could still be an Odin. Don't know if other people are willing to play Odin. Gambit is a bummer. Yeah, if their final card is Odin, that could be pretty reasonable for them. So all I have is Hela to hit Iron Man. I never win Baxter Building. I think we actually have to retreat this game. And all right, yeah, the untapped overlay will probably work for next game. Let's retreat.
Escaped.
I mean, next match. It's like off here, but that's fine. I could have gone Red Skull plus Blade. They don't have Ghost Rider if they're playing Gambit. You actually get a lot of info just based off what they play, meaning what they can't play. So that's pretty fun. We don't know their 5 if they are also playing the same card I am. We did see Thaddeus trigger twice. So that kind of implies a more expensive list. Oh, I'm also playing Odin. I did not realize that. I forgot my own list. But now we have it here. Pretty similar to what my opponent's doing. I imagine they were about to Odin us on that final turn. So kind of glad we got out of there. And I guess I did also have Odin as a potential Blade target on the final turn. Iron Man into Sinister London is interesting. Ooh, one that costs the same. We're going to take our Gore and their Esme and get an Eliath. Not ready to snap just yet. Jubilee is just all right into Sinister London. What if I suppose I can go Jubilee, Iron Man, Odin? No, that's not great either. Ooh, Space Throne could prove to be a little bit tricky. Silver Samurai always discards Iron Man. I don't want to discard my Jubilee, but I might play Jubilee into the Burial Ground now. Iron Man into London, also a little bit of a risk though, because it might wind up over in Space Throne, and then I've lost this location. Okay, they are playing Corvus Glaive as their 5. That does somewhat imply Odin to me, but I don't think it's guaranteed. Yeah, and they're playing 2 Thaddeus cards. Silver Samurai, discard Iron Man and Jubilee, and 2 cards from my opponent's hand is interesting. At what point is Silver Samurai able to just take my opponent's Hela? Because of the 5 cards in my opponent's hand, I guess they discarded Infinite already too. I mean, there's still a lot of luck going on with this game. I think I'm just going to play Silver Samurai and hold on to this one for 2 more cubes. They're going to blink their Corvus into a Gore. I'm going to discard Iron Man. Not having Gore in hand means we might be able to grab their Hela here. Let's see. Yes! Yes! Perfect. Their hand was just a little bit too big. And now if I magic, I can play 3 different cards into Sinister London, and I might be able to actually turn this game around. My opponent can probably easily win the Space Throne, so that one's a little bit sketchy. But if I play magic, next turn I can play Red Skull into Sinister London. I could actually Odin in Sinister London to make my opponent discard 2 more cards next turn. I don't think that's going to be super useful, though, to be totally honest. Could blade the Red Skull. I'm running out of room here fast. But we could find Blink. I'll want to blink the magic, though. That's also fine. Let's see where this gets us. I think I should be able to win Limbo and Sinister London. This is going to be an Odin, and they Odin their Blink away. No, that's a no target. Okay. Interesting. I thought that Odin blinked Blink there. Turns out, no. So if I Odin my Silver Samurai, I lose Blade and Esme, 2 cards that I don't care about, and oh no, I only lose 1 card. I only lose Blade. My opponent also only loses 1 card. I have Prio. I could Eliath. That's a nice little... Oh, I can Eliath and then Odin Eliath. Oh, okay. This is beautiful. So, I don't expect this to be like a huge game winner. Yeah, that Eliathing a card like this still is a little bit sketchy, but it looks good to me. And now we are going to go for the Blade Blink plan. I do have to win Limbo, though, as well. How do I do this? Do I do this by... I mean, 13 more points does not win Limbo. Do I do this by needing to hit my... I mean, this will win Limbo. If it's Infinite. And if it's Hela, I think that there's still some good chances here. It could go belly up. I'm not going to Boomer Snap. Let's just ride it out for 4 cubes, see what happens. Oh, my opponent has priority this time. Iron Man plus Corvus Glaive. I don't think I can beat this combination, though. I need Hela to bring back Gore right here, but then that's not going to be enough over here, so I also need, like, Iron Man. No, we just get Infinite. It's enough in Limbo. Wait, and then Hela blinked itself and gave me Iron Man. Okay, calculated. I planned for it. Blink can blink itself in Sinister London. Oh my goodness gracious. That's exactly how we drew it up, right? Okay, it was a 50-50 then? Maybe a little bit less than that because I also had to hit the Iron Man. Yeah. That was calculated. My opponent is playing the Scar as their 12 cost card. We're a little light on the top end. I opted for Red Skull instead of Scar. I could have just gone for Scar though. We'll see if we get punished for that. Rickety Bridge, an interesting card in a Hela game for sure. Next turn we have the Esme, and we've got our two best Esme targets in our hand already, other than Gore, right? Let's just Esme. Hoping to hit Gore here. Magic would not really be ideal. My opponent also Esmeing up. So we're going to get a little cuckoo this game. We get the Red Skull. All right. That's no bueno. Probably just Jubilee here. But also Silver Samurai the Iron Man. That seems bad. I mean, just in general. I blanked out to what just happened. But just in general, trying to Hela in a Rickety Bridge game seems bad. We do get the Gore off the Jubilee, and I can Odin this location if we hit exactly Magic this turn, but we don't. So that's a little bit awkward. Sewer System, Asteroid M, or Silver Samurai set up for a Hela. I can't Blade, so we're just Silver Samurai discarding Iron Man and giving my opponent a free discard as well. What's the other option? The other option could be Iron Man here, Odin into Asteroid M, hope to hit the Infinite, or Blink. Blink the Iron Man into Infinite. Alright. Let's start here. Iron Man. It's not that much power right now, but my opponent's going to play some more on reveals here. They get rid of Corvus with a Blink. It's an Iron Man battle. Neither of us have... Oh no, my opponent has discarded 2 cards. Kind of just hoping both of their cards land center and they lose Rickety Bridge because of that. We drew the Infinite, which means if we Odin, it's not great for us. One other thing that we could do is we could Red Skull in our Iron Man location and clear out the bridge. I think that this is not bad. This is an additional nearly 20 points on the final turn, and then playing for differential, and I'm just hoping that their Hela puts a bigger card in their bridge than I've spent. Like, if they get Scar, Odin, either one of those, they've spent more resources to get that into the bridge. They could also Blade before they Hela this turn, but I do think we're going to ride it out here in the Hela Spider matchup. We're going to go for it, and yeah, good luck to the big cheese here. I think that mirrors in Marvel Snap should be called Spider-Mans. Spider matchups. Because of the Spider-Man point emote. They did play a card center. Looks like they might have just played a Blade center, so that way they could clear out anything that we did. Oh, it's a Jubilee. That's curious, because these cards are going to die unless they hit. Oh, the Jubilee moves, the Infinite gets destroyed, and then Gambit. Is Gambit enough? I don't think so. I think we just won on differential. Yeah, baby. That was a good one. All right, so I'm not sure. We might have to play against Hela for a lot of the other matches in this event.
Trying to come up with another deck that we can play, and basically I'm trying to look and see if there's any cards in their cost that really stand out, and honestly I think it's Mockingbird's Sasquatch. I think that this is probably the next best start to a deck, because it gives you a 9 and a 10 that you don't actually have to spend 6 energy on. How do we fill out the rest of the deck? I'm not super sure. It's going to still get expensive. I do feel like Magic might just be an answer for a lot of people. Maybe can this deck play itself? Can we just go for Agatha and hope that she's able to sort it. Oh, it's by energy sort again. We need this on power sort. Let me see if I was missing anything else. Okay, yeah, there are some other 9s. There's other 8s as well. Maybe you just play Gladiator. Yeah, Gladiator's probably going to be a pretty common 8, isn't it? 7s, you're looking at High Evo. You're looking at Ebony Maw. Anti-Venom? Anti-Venom is another card that can allow you to cheat on some cost, which I think is a pretty important part of this format. What else do we have? We've got Gwenpool as a really high synergy overlap with Sasquatch and Mysterio. I don't know if I want to use my 4 on Mysterio, but I think we might just have to. Gwenpool seems fine regardless. For 5s, I'm probably scrolling through this wrong. I want to start with like the cheapest possible 5 power card, like Titania or Silk. Yeah, let's just play some cheap cards here too. We kind of might need another card for Mockingbird. Could go Esme again. That gives a little bit of a cheat. We could play Shauna and Squirrel Girl. But at 4, no, at 4 we have to play Mysterio. Right, yeah, I'm not giving up Mysterio for a different 4. That just doesn't make any sense. At 3, we've got Red Guardian. We've got some other tech. I think we're going to have to go cheaper, though. Valentina allows us to go turn 3 Valentina, or turn 2 Valentina, turn 4 Valentina card, turn 5 Mockingbird. It's also reasonable with Luke Cage, which I was thinking about playing for anti-venom purposes. Not necessarily sold on this interaction, but it's a powerful interaction potentially. And then that does lead us into Valentina being an interesting option. Could also be US Agent as a sort of one-sided synergy there with Luke Cage, but I'm fine with this being enough of a synergy, I think. And then at 1, what is my 1? I don't think it's Kitty Pryde. It can't be Squirrel Girl because that's a 2 now. White Tiger makes a thing. Spider-Ham, not super exciting. Yeah, it falls off a little bit here, to be sure. Don't think this curve ever gets small enough for Athena. Think that you have to play Hood. Hood actually has synergy with both of our top-end cards. Okay. How else do we fill out the deck? We're not using Titania to the best of her abilities. It could be a Silk deck. So what do we have right now? We don't have a 1 or a 0. White Tiger's a little lackluster. I think Wolfsbane actually does do some work. What else do we have access to here? Kitty Pryde, but we're not playing Hope Summers or Elsa because those are both in the 4-cost slot. Yeah, you can see how this gets awkward. Is it Ant-Man? For just like, sometimes you dump a bunch of power on turn 5 so that way you can play a free Sasquatch as a follow-up. It's kind of the idea here. It's really just a very straightforward deck aiming to get as much power out there as possible. No zeros in this build of the deck, right? Though, like, playing Iron Man with Anti-Venom is pretty reasonable synergy. Could also see playing Cassandra Nova as, again, just a cheap card. I do feel like I kind of want more ways to go over the top. Gwenpool is also synergy with Iron Man and Anti-Venom. So I think this is the deck.
We're going to start with Hood into Kiln. I think I do want to curve out. I want to get this demon. My opponent's snapping already. I thought that that fist bump was to indicate we were up against a fellow banger. Some people like to fist bump indicate to show they're snapping. I tend to like to play it out. We're here for the content, right? So I am content to play it out for multiple games. Kunlun, let's just lead with a Valentina now. I will fill this location on turn 4 with Ant-Man, so that's pretty reasonable. And we could potentially just like Titania, Ant-Man, Demon this turn. I don't really love to play Titania this early. And what's also awkward is if I do this, my opponent is actually winning this location, which is pretty embarrassing. I think instead what we do, just this will allow me to play Sasquatch next turn into Taskmaster plus Titania on turn 5. So I think that this might just be good enough. I will be playing Sasquatch into Kunlun, so that way I can copy it for the full 10 with Taskmaster. Let's snap. I think that this probably wins Kiln. This is 10 points in Kiln. My opponent is yet to make a play. Could be Hela. Hela can certainly sneak into the Kiln. That's a fine location for that. Let's find out. Is this a Corvus or a Lady Sif? It's a Corvus. Yeah, okay. Corvus discards Blink and Scar. We're going to be seeing a lot of Hela today. But they can't blink this now, which is good for me. If I Sasquatch, where does that get me? That means next turn this will cost 4. No, we're playing the Sasquatch while we can. Next turn, we can't really play Mysterio and Taskmaster next turn. So I'll probably just play Taskmaster next turn and then try to follow that up with a Mockingbird. Jubilee. We could see a bunch of points in Kunlun. What do they got? A Makari. Oh. Huh. Oh, Luke Cage. Forgot I was playing that one. Luke Cage could work nicely for me for Necrotia. Do we just want to play the Taskmaster, though? The other option is Mysterio, Luke Cage. That gives me a 3-cost Mockingbird to play on the final turn, which means I'm looking to draw exactly Gladiator. But if I just play Taskmaster, then I've got a 4-cost Mockingbird, and I'm looking to play Mockingbird Mysterio on the final turn. The question is, do I run out this Titania? I think that I do, because if they play to Kunlun, it locks them out of Kunlun for the rest of the game, which does seem good to me. Nice. So now we can easily steal Kunlun back with a Mysterio, and then drop a bird into Necrotia. Never mind Jubilee going to lock themselves out of Kunlun. Also a good play. Giganto's a bunch of points there. This is enough points. It's less in Necrotia. It probably loses to Hela. But I feel like it's the play we have to make. Either that or we just abandon Kunlun, but our game plan is to hope that the Hela cards all land in the same location. So their current Hela reanimations are Blink and Scar. And basically, if they play Hela here, it's not enough. They do have 1 extra energy. If they Blade Hela, that is enough, because we're actually going to lose 2 points over in Necrotia with this Mysterio. I don't win this game on differential. I just need all of their cards to land in Necrotia. It's a 50-50, right? I mean, not for all of their cards to land in Necrotia. They are bringing back 2 cards. They could also blink. Yeah, they've won Necrotia. So it's a 1 in 4. I guess a 1 in 4 is not worth it. I will consider that another deck... So I've already recorded all of the deck construction portions of this video. I will consider that Cosmo needs to be in my decks, though. I think we probably still run out the hood. It's a little bit awkward, but my opponent with TVA, I mean, they're going to snap. I don't know if I should expect Legion in this sort of a quasi-Danish Hela here, right? No, won't expect Legion because they're playing Blink. Yeah, you do get a lot of fun info just based off whatever your opponent has already showed you, which is pretty cool. We're going to play Valentina, hope that we get a sweet 4. Crimson Cosmos is likely... Well, Valentina can get played there, the Valentina card. Psylocke ramps them out into Jubilee for Cosmos. We're winning this location. Demon can overcome this location, and Ultron can actually be massive. This has an opportunity cost. This could lose you the game. Giving your opponent a big on reveal, their deck has a bunch of big stuff. I think we just play it safe and drop a demon. But I think we do that here because we might need some more help in the TVA next turn. Let's see what else they got here. Yeah, this is Jubilee in Crimson Cosmos. We thought this one was coming, and that gives them an Odin. Yeah, that's going to be pretty tough to come back from. I think that's interesting for me. I mean, my opponent still has 4 cards in their hand. No, they have 0 cards in their hand. Oh, I misread that. Yeah, they had 0 cards in their hand. They're drawing off the top of the deck this turn, and they have to play for both of these locations. If they got a card that they just can't play in the big house, I mean, this could just be a good play. This is the most possible points here. If they have a cheap card, which could be, I mean, could be Makari. Could be Thaddeus. If it's Makari, we beat them no matter what with this play. If it's a 5-cost card, but it's not, I think we just do this and win every time. Let's go with this. Okay, it is going to be a retreat there because we did win that one every time. Nice. Yeah, my opponent just did not have the cards to battle for a TVA game. They discarded some of their important cards too, but I think that it's just not a great setup for them for TVA. I'll lead off with Ant-Man, try to grab this White Hot Room. I don't think my opponent's going to contest it too much, though Jubilee does battle for it, right? Showed my opponent a decent amount of my deck at this point. They actually haven't seen the Mysterio Gwenpool or the Gladiator, I don't think. Though they've seen most of it up until this point. Can we get a 3-cost card? Kamartaj is interesting. We do find a 3-cost card. Then I think we might go Anti-Venom here and then Spectrum into Kamartaj on the final turn after Iron Manning. Yeah, this could be big. This could be quite nice for us. Next turn, yeah, it's Anti-Venom into White Hot Room, hoping to hit the Hood or Gwenpool, or I don't think Mysterio works. Ooh, this is a big Jubilee. They're going to fill up this location. Did they find Gambit? No, they found Corvus Glaive and discarded their hand. And then blinked. They blinked a Hela into Corvus Glaive. They double blinked. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but... Oh, here's a Hela. They blinked whatever this was into Hela. Sure. It's definitely a little bit scarier now to do this. But I think with Iron Man plus this additional energy and the free card from Anti-Venom, I think we are battling for both of these locations. My opponent's in top deck mode. They can probably put some decent points into White Hot Room. I might need to not go for White Hot Room this turn and instead like Anti-Venom and make sure I've got enough points here. I might need to Iron Man over here and then battle in a more traditional way for Kamartaj. Oh yeah, we're gonna Anti-Venom this card, so this is just free. We just get a free big card here. Could be Gwenpool. That would be nice. Mysterio is the awkward one. So I really don't have time to utilize this either. Oh, wait. It's free. I can just play it. It does take up a point in Camartage. And I think we need to battle for Camartage. This is 11. I think we'll have it, though. 11 plus 13. Yeah, and we have this here. I've already snapped up. All right, cool. I think we found a winning line. My opponent skipping to potentially Infinite? No. This is just a Psylocke, so no Infinite to be afeared of.
Iron Man.
And I think Iron Man plus Spectrum Camartage is going to be more than enough. Spectrum, a killer card for us here. We just need to put 12 points into this location. This is more than 12. And we'll throw a Titania down in case it's a differential game. But I think we've got it. Let's see what my opponent has got. They're going to put down some big points. Scar plus Blade for 23. They did not play around the Spectrum, though, which will put us up to 32 in White Hot Room and enough points in Camartage as well to grab the win. That was a spicy one. All right, so we're up 2 cubes now, 6-4. Valentina definitely coming in clutch. Would I rather it be Cosmo? Honestly, not that game. Not that game, right? Don't have to worry about Fisk Tower. We have Anti-Venom, Luke Cage, Valentina curve. So this is nice. I kind of put like 2 decks in one with this one. And there is no real synergistic overlap, to be totally honest. That could be a bit of a bummer. Throw Valentino alongside Ant-Man. And get an Agatha. Now, Agatha will play herself on turn 4. I actually don't have to worry about that because she won't do anything for me this turn. And then next turn, she'll just play herself, and I don't care where she does that. I don't care to play Titania. It's actually kind of a sweet Agatha, to be totally honest. And maybe just Giganto in Fisk Tower plus an Agatha to hold down the falls could be good. We have their biggest card that we've seen. We've not seen one card from my opponent. We will be accepting this snap, but I don't think I'm going to snap back. I think we're going to try to play this pretty close to the vest here. I'd like to upload this one to YouTube, so I'd like this one to be a win if possible. They discard Luke Cage and Odin. Luke Cage still doing some nice work just by clogging up my opponent's draws. Agatha goes down into Fisk Tower. That is the worst location for her because that was my Giganto spot. It will still give me a cheaper Mockingbird for next turn. Blink is going to turn Corvus into Iron Man. Red Guardian also could have been an option. So we could Bird Warrior Falls. We could Titania, Mysterio. I think it could be Titania Anti-Venom, though none of these cards are useful for me for free on the final turn. So I think it's Titania, Mysterio. Hope that that clogs them out of the peak in a way that we can then beat them in that location. I'm hoping to draw exactly Gladiator. This Mysterio dies if they play here. They're locked out of this location if they play here. They don't. They play a Gore. Them not playing here is really good. It means that my Mockingbird only costs 2, which means I can play it alongside Anti-Venom instead. I do actually find the Gladiator, though. So that's pretty interesting. My opponent has priority. So we have to consider that. I could just retreat here and allow this game to tie. Because how do I actually win the peak? Well, they only really have 14 points there. If I play 2 cards... I'm assuming they win Fisk Tower, though, right? This technically ties the location, but I do think They could just play Hela here. So I could do this. But I don't think I win on differential here either. I think I do want to play it like this. It's discarded here. Scar. Luke Cage, Odin. I think they might not play to Warrior Falls, but... Is this wild? It's battles for all 3 locations in an interesting and silly way. Oh, this actually does win this location if they don't play to the peak. Yeah, just a Hela here I thought might be the case, and we decidedly have more power than them here with that. Odin on Hela doesn't actually do anything, but it does win the Warrior Falls. Do I take the peak, though? That's the question. I do, but I lose Fisk Tower. Makari, not going to do anything for us. It's the fact that they won Fisk Tower, right? Because I'm pretty sure I played Mysterio. Well, I only win one of these 2 locations regardless. I actually tie the peak. Okay, yeah, we got to win the next 2 now. I tried to find a line. I think I correctly predicted what my opponent was going to do was play Hela into Warrior Falls, but I failed to realize that there's very few ways that that actually worked out for me in the end, unfortunately. So that is going to be a loss. We'll lead off with the Hood here now. This deck might be doing like too many different things. Oh, that's a bummer. That is a bummer for us for sure. I could just see curving out here. Gladiator's a real risk, too. If we can anti-venom a good card, I start to feel pretty reasonable about this. We kind of also want a Mysterio into Sasquatch next turn now. But then when am I playing anti-venom? Not much opportunity for that then. Maybe I'll play turn 4 anti-venom, turn 5 Mysterio. Alright, I'm going to run out the Gladiator. See where that gets me. That gets me a Blink, which we do get to kill, and they don't get any value out of, which is good. Corvus discards Jubilee and Psylocke. Not super high value targets, but nothing of value was lost at the same time. I think I'm going to keep my Titania. Next turn, Mysterio will send it, so I'm curious how that will work. Plan is, I think, Mysterio, Valentina. Okay, they're going to take the Titania regardless here. And I think we always Mysterio into Weapon X, and then Valentina over here. Oh, Dream Dimension is going to mean I only play Mysterio this turn. Oh, and a Gwenpool. And a Gwenpool. Well, now I think I just Gwenpool the Mysterios, right? Final turn is Sasquatch plus Mysterio. That's pretty reasonable. I could also final turn Mysterio plus the Valentina card, but I think we default to wanting to play the Sasquatch. We will not be able to play Mockingbird nor Iron Man. We could play Luke Cage for a little bit more points here, but I think the plan is just going to be big Mysterios, hopefully. Plus, okay, Sasquatch got all the buffs there. Wow, all 3 of the buffs, actually. We could Onslaught Ant-Man, but that's not more points than Sasquatch. So, yeah, the play is just Mysterio plus Sasquatch here. This keeps them the Titania, but it keeps us winning this location. This looks good for now. I mean, if my opponent plays Hela here, they get Odin, Giganto. I do think that all we can feasibly do... I wish more buffs went on this Mysterio. I'd have a much better play this turn. I'm just looking at some breakpoints. Like, we can put this location to 7. That seems reasonably smart. Did they discard Jubilee? They did, right? So they might be inclined to play Hela here because of the Odin and the Jubilee. So if that's the case, do I do this? Does that ever win Weapon X, though? Maybe I have to do this. Hope that a bunch of points go here. We're taking the Titania, so we're battling for Bifrost, because they'll play Hela into Weapon X if they have it, which I'm assuming they have it. Oh, they actually played into Bifrost. All right, that's a little bit surprising. So they've won the Bifrost now. They've outplayed us there. I'm hoping that enough cards land in Dream Dimension. Oh, they made Odin a good play if it lands exactly here, too. Giganto, I beat that Jubilee. That's probably going to put them over the top. Makari makes it a tie. Oh, goodness gracious. It's a differential game, and we... Tie. Exactly. Holy guacamole. One more Gwenpool hit. One Gwenpool hit. Not even one more, just one single Gwenpool hit on a Mysterio. And we would have won that game. This was all about points. It was all about differential. Or had we played the Sasquatch here, not realizing what that Titania Hela was going to do, makes sense that they would think that I would take the Titania. I missed that Odin onto Blade was also a reasonable line there. So, okay, they are going to grab my Anti-Venom. That could be all right for them. We take their Jubilee. We're just going to lead off on Ant-Man. A Titania that you're not playing on turn 6 is definitely a little bit sketchy. But it's what we got. I'll Mysterio into the unknown. That's probably safe in a vacuum. And we've got the turn 3 Sassy, turn 4 Anti-Venom, so this curve seems reasonable. Still have to win the next 2 games because of that tie. Dang it. After turn 4, the winner here gets +1 max energy. Sure, we'll be able to grab that +1 max energy. Not sure what I'll be able to do with it, but will definitely be the turn 4 victor. Not sure if I'm going to play the Hood into Ant-Man. I'm pretty low on power in this location. And if I play it into Lake Hellas, we get +2 on it, which might just be more important. I don't think that I'm going to have space to rock this Jubilee. This seems like a pretty clear Anti-Venom. Oh, right, this is turn 4. So all I get to play is Anti-Venom or Gwenpool. Well, Gwenpool hitting the Hood is a little bit awkward, but not that awkward. I still imagine this is always enough points over in Grand Prix. This is also where my Mysterio is, so not committing too much there also makes some sense. I like Gwenpool on Iron Man, but might just not be able to swing that for this game. They are going to discard Jubilee and 4, and then a Blade, a Hela, a free Hela. Holy guacamole, they're battling for the Grand Prix. I don't know that they're going to get it, and now we might be able to get White Palace. I think that's our claim here. I think we can claim stake in White Palace and Grand Prix with a game like this. I am going to ship them the Titania. We'll see if that backfires on me. I do also have Jubilee into Iron Man as a potential play. I can always Jubilee in Lake Hellas if I really decide that that is more interesting than what I draw, but I'm hoping to draw exactly Iron Man so I can play Iron Man, Mockingbird for a pretty good point spread. Iron Man, Mockingbird plus Demon next turn. They play nothing, means they're not locked out of Lake Hellas. This is Iron Man. Even if it's, honestly, if it's anything, it's good. But if it's Iron Man, it is great. Iron Man makes it great. They don't have Infinite, so this wasn't a skip Infinite line. This always wins here. Right? Right. What am I missing? Nothing. This always wins here. Right? I think we just win. Cool. All right. Final game. We have got a tough match here. I'm counting my chickens a little bit before they hatch, but I am feeling quite confident with this setup. Gore is going to give them a big win in Lake Hellas, but we've got big wins elsewhere. 40 points in Scar Grand Prix and 25 over in White Palace. Iron Man not gonna do it. They needed Iron Man plus Blade, and even that was not going to be enough because we just also have an Iron Man, but way more points than they do. So there we go. You can have Titania back, and we will take 2 cubes to move on to the final game. All right. This is a good one. This one's hitting YouTube regardless, so don't let that spoil you. Don't look at the runtime of this video. I can't really say that because you just have the runtime by default. Vormir, I think, is a good location. Oh, we still don't know one card in their deck. So let's see. What could it be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's either... It's probably not a 9. Oh, Gore's just not on here because it hasn't been played. That's fair. Wakanda, not a great location for me to Gladiator. Vormir is a great location for me to play the Hood, though. I love that. Let's just lead with a Valentina, though, for now. They are going to Psylocke. I figured that's their best card to play into Vormir because they want to be able to blink their Jubilee. I don't know if I vocalized that. I meant to. Might have got a bit distracted. I think we're going to play She-Hulk on turn 4. No, we are not. No, we are not. We're not even really going to Vormir here because then we just lose the demon and lose our turn. So I think we just Gladiator. Well, Gladiator seems like such a huge risk, though. Do I actually still just create a demon and then shuffle in my deck and see what happens? This is a bummer. Attilan is a bummer location for me, especially because with the extra energy, they can actually just dump their hand and not even have to worry about Attilan. This is so good for them. They've got Corvus plus Blade, and they're going to draw Hela now eventually. We would have to get extremely lucky for this to work out. They are going to draw their whole deck. They're going to have Hela. So, what do we need to do? Well, we probably need to play our She-Hulk and our Demon. That'll make Mockingbird cost 4 next turn. And I think I just need to put up... Should I be ignoring Vormir and just trying to make 2 big locations so that way I could maybe Iron Man to steal a win? It's probably Iron Man to steal a win unless we can Titania lock them out of Vormir, but I think my opponent's wise to that at this point. Yeah, they're going to draw their whole deck and a half here. They do hit the Hela this turn, which now gives me the exact values that I have to play around. It looks like I played wrong. I should have avoided Wakanda, unfortunately. But now that I haven't, I don't think that I should. Now that I haven't, I think we should just Iron Man here Next turn, we are just hoping to hit Luke Cage, and then I can go Luke Cage Gladiator. It feels like I don't have it in me right now. I need more cards over in Attilan, so I kind of need to play Iron Man here. Then how am I ever winning Vormir? Gladiator for the tie? I mean, these locations are basically equal. The only thing that I can think of, and the curve is awkward here because we're showing them this Iron Man, so my opponent knows exactly what's up. All right, they're going to battle for all 3 locations. If we draw Luke Cage, we can put 4 more points right here. We don't, though. We're winning Wakanda. They have to assume we're going to play for Ant-Man. I can't even play. I can't even win this game. I have 0 plays that I can make. I mean, the most points I can... So I can Gladiator... Blink the Gore. No, that doesn't work. I can Gladiator. They have no cards in their deck. Gladiator's just a 3/8. Just a 3/8. This is unfortunately a loss. Yeah, I just can't beat this curve out. Attilan gave my opponent a little too much gas and took it away from me. All I can do is play this here. We are just going to end it. Hit that fist bump. And say GG to my opponent. No way out of that one, unfortunately. So that's going to be a loss, and we're going to have to get another win with this deck, but that was still a really fun match. Is Master Mold a good anti-Hela card? I don't think that could be right. We could just now put in Squirrel Girl, and that will give us additional ways to make a cheaper Mockingbird and Sasquatch potentially, which I think we were struggling with a little bit. Unfortunately, with Cosmo, we don't have the room for something like a Blue Marvel. This will also help with Ant-Man, I think. Are there other ways to take advantage of playing a bunch of cards that also have exactly 7 power or 8? That I don't think so. Let's take a look. Stegron, Fanfei, Ebony Maw. Blink. I could blink the Squirrel Girl. Oh, Cersei. Oh, Cersei for Mysterio, Squirrel Girl, and the Hood? All right. Now, I'm not sure how this fits into the curve. Is the biggest trick here. But I do like that. There is also Black Bolt, just because it was kind of fun to discard my opponent's cards. But I don't think that's it. I mean, this looks like a Cersei deck, at least to some extent. Let me take a look at the other zeros to see if we can cut Iron Man for a different card. But Iron Man allowing us to go over the top is probably useful. The other thing we could do is just play Shang-Chi instead of Cosmo. Don't think that that's crazy either. Sage could just be a cheaper card. Ironheart could also just be a cheaper card and reasonably fits on the curve. I think we're just gonna go for this, though. There's also... Oh, no, there isn't Wasp. All right, let's try this out now. Alrighty, let's see if we got another Hela gamer over here. The hub is going to give me Onslaught. I'm not sure that that's super helpful. We do have a turn 3 Mockingbird. I don't see any reason to run out the Titania just yet. Sunspot. Okay, we've got a new deck. That's nice. Throne Room, we are just going to dodge. Let's play the real Mysterio up against the Sunspot. That's neat. So this is probably a high Evo deck. I was looking at that just because high Evo seemed like a reasonable 7. She-Hulk's a reasonable 10. A-Bomb's a reasonable 9. So, seems cool. We're both trying out some new stuff here, which is obviously awesome. We definitely just want to get Sassy this turn. Sass is my biggest card, which is a bit of a bummer for Throne Room. Wait a minute, what if I Iron Man and then Onslaught? Where did I find this Onslaught? From the hub? Yeah, wait, this is going to work out perfectly. Next turn, I get to go Mockingbird plus Ant-Man, fill out Hotel Inferno, and then I go Onslaught plus Iron Man into the hub, which is just 32 points by itself. I could even play it into Throne Room, and then it's maybe even more points, but then it's Shang-Chi-able. I think we're snapping now, though. Oh, I could Ant-Man in this Iron Man Onslaught location too, and then this location could just be Sasquatch. I could even play Mockingbird into Throne Room. I want to destroy a card with Hotel Inferno and maybe get a little bit more info. Turns out that's not going to be the case. So I didn't play my biggest card into Throne Room, but that might still be fine. We also have Cersei for Throne Room, or we just have Gwenpool to do some other shenanigans. This is a high roll. My opponent is also somewhat high rolling with Sunspot into Magic. That definitely implies, at the very least, She-Hulk might not be high evo, but we are both battling for Limbo for now. Cyclops going to come down and start to shrink me down a little bit here. But man, if this doesn't look like a good curve, right? I want to save the Onslaught for the final turn. But I think we can still Iron Man here. I just have to decide if we're going to go Ant-Man Cersei next turn, or maybe even Titania Cersei, both in Throne Room. Titania Cersei. That gives me a 2-cost Mockingbird. Yeah, I don't see a great way to weave in Mockingbird. I might just have to play Mockingbird next turn and abandon this whole Cersei thing. Going to give me some affliction in Throne Room, but I think that's mostly a miss. Oh wow, was Squirrel Girl the perfect draw? Did we just write the song of the summer? I think so. Now, where Squirrel Girl's awkward. So maybe next turn. Yeah, Squirrel Girl gives me a 1-cost Mockingbird next turn. But the problem is, if I Squirrel Girl, I can't Ant-Man, but you know what? That's fine. We'll have a 1-cost Mockingbird. They can't actually make use of this. And then we play this, and on the final turn... Oh, why am I not just playing Mockingbird right here, right now, then? Well, the fact that I could just play Mockingbird right here, right now, makes me feel like I could just go for that. I'm also seeing this, and then I've got a free Mockingbird. It locks me out of Limbo, but this gives me a free bird. And then I'm just playing Onslaught here. I'm not playing Ant-Man, so the fact that the bird is free is not actually relevant. So this is a slight optimization. Wait, yeah, we're doing Cersei here. And then it's a 1-cost bird with an Onslaught over in the hub. I'm hoping that's enough. I'm thinking that's enough. We will have priority. But if my opponent Shang-Chi's my Mockingbird, then Cersei will take over. Hopefully this is not a clog card. Hopefully it's just a big points card to keep me honest. And Cersei in Throne Room is looking cool. That's going to give me a Luke Cage. Holy guacamole, that's good. Oh, did Havoc just grief me? Havoc did just grief me. That's unfortunate. So, Havoc's a bit of a bummer. But I don't think it's the end of the world. The Luke Cage was really quite good. We've got 2 options here. Mockingbird, Ant-Man. Ant-Man's for 5. Probably puts me over the top enough in Throne Room. Oh, what did they eat? And why is Blob here as well? This is Abomination She-Hulk. That's a lot of their point potential, isn't it? They need to play points here and here. I think we just do this. This is enough, right? This is 10 more points. Oh, it's not enough in the hub. Oh, that's a bummer. And this is a clear overcommit, but I think we still do this. Yeah, sure. If they have a really big card, they can take Throne Room. But how do they take Throne Room and Limbo? That seems tough to me. They didn't float any energy. They don't even have access to She-Hulk or Abomination. So I don't know how they get any discounted cards here. But they're playing for Limbo in the hub. I think this is good for me unless they have Shang-Chi. But they've got Shang-Chi for Sasquatch. I think that means we win the hub. No way Ghost beats me. Yeah, okay, nice. And Havoc takes over the throne room for the win. We did not play around Shang-Chi in any location, and by doing so, we played around Shang-Chi, because you can't Shang-Chi me at every location, so we will get the win. Let's see if my opponent wants to play another one, or if they are satisfied with that 8-cuber. We're going for a game 2. I like it. I like it. Ghost plus Shang-Chi is an interesting interaction. We've got Cosmo now to protect against Shang-Chi. Okay, Cosmo is going to be clutch. The Hood into Murder World, also pretty clutch. I like that one. My opponent might magic Murder World just to strand me with -3 power there. It's fine. It's fine. It contributes to Ant-Man. That's good to me. They may have meant to retreat, and they'll retreat now. That happens. Give me a fist bump. I don't think it was a fist bump. Rage quit. They might have just, okay. Sure. Let's battle, my friend. Me too. Me too. And I'm assuming we're going to take this one. Play some games here for fun, but I don't imagine my opponent's going to win the next 5 games. Not because, you know, to speak ill of them, that just seems like a lot to do. Demon into DC is nice for me. Can also throw Mysterio there later on. Do they have the turn 3 magic for murder? So interestingly, I can kill my squirrel this turn. I think I do. Playing 2 cards this turn sets me up for a turn 4 Sasquatch. The only question here is which squirrel do I want to keep alive? This is 1 more point in White Hot Room, but if I do this, we are better set up for a Mockingbird. And then, yeah, I have to play Titanium, not because I really want to, but just because it will make the Sasquatch cheaper. So we're going to play Titania into White Hot Room, see where that gets me. Squirrel, also good in Washington, D.C., so that's a nice synergy. If my opponent also starts to battle for White Hot Room in an interesting way, we might be able to give them the Titania, though it doesn't seem like that is quite on the menu. The Titanium makes White Hot Room a very interesting location, though. But they're giving it back to us here. It is no longer an interesting location. They did let my Hood go away, but they are going to magic here now. We have to remember they have access to the... Well, I'm trying to figure out exactly what I want to play here. Where would I even be Cerseiing? I guess I'd be Cerseiing here, so I guess I play this Mysterio here. Could just Cosmo into Limbo, though. Without knowing what I'm going to draw, this is a little bit tough. If I draw Gwenpool, I kind of want the Iron Man or the Mysterio in my hand. If I play the Mockingbird or the Cersei, I have some other things that I'm into, but I think we're just going to run out the Iron Man. I don't think that's ever wrong. So we'll see exactly how this one works for me. The thing means they take Titania, and now they have an awkward sort of Titania puzzle to figure out. If we both played a Limbo in the same turn, they get locked out, which is pretty good for me. Now we're going to Gwenpool Ant-Man. Hopefully get some Gwenpool triggers on Mysterio this time. I've got way too many points in Washington, D.C. That's wild. This is good. I'm not going to overthink it here. If I play a card to Titania, I can't play another card. They're skipping, so they're setting up for a She-Hulk. That's fine to me. That also kind of means that they're battling for DC, whether they like to or not. Oh, and I got 2 Mysterio hits right here. I like that a lot, too. So this is no longer Shang-Chi-able. This is almost Shang-Chi-able, which is crazy. I think we just play Mysterio here and then probably Mockingbird to fill up Murder World. I think this is battling for all 3 locations quite well. Let's see what they come up with. They have She-Hulk plus Shang-Chi plus another 3-coster. I'm totally dodged on Shang-Chi. I guess they can't quite play an Abomination either. I mean, they could play an Abomination, just not alongside... No, they could play. Oh, wow. Yeah, Bomb costs 3. So they could play She-Hulk, Shang-Chi, Abomination. That's a pretty powerful turn. It is awkward to play all of these cards in your deck with no abilities, but no synergy with Washington, D.C. because of High Evolutionary. That's fun. So they've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've also seen their 9, their 10. That leaves them with 3 unknown cards. Cool strategy to try out. They do give me the Titania here. Oh, and it's Infinite plus She-Hulk for 30 points in Murder World. That's not going to be enough. They lose the other 2 locations there. And we are now going to move on to our 3rd deck.
I've looked at some other things. Destroy, Clog, and what else did I look at? Affliction. I don't think any of them are super exciting, unfortunately. Just think they all have some pretty awkward restrictions, like Man-Thing and Ajax showing up on the same number. I feel like my Hela deck was really it. I've tried to look at some other things, including Destroy, Clog, and Affliction. All of them, I think, really leave a lot to be desired still. I'm not sure what this final deck will ultimately wind up being. I do think that there's possibly just some room for straight up ramp with Luna Snow and Wave, potentially. I don't think that this deck is going to play that much differently than the Hela deck, ultimately, so it could be a little bit of a waste of time. But maybe there's something interesting to look at here. This would be Gore, of course. It could be Hobgoblin. Could be, probably not Adam Warlock. Could be Iron Man here still. Or Blob. Problem with Blob is you can't Arnim Zola it or Taskmaster it. So what are you doing with it other than just winning a location, which, hey, not bad. Not maybe great to play Hobgoblin with it. Hobgoblin might just be a better card. Sure, maybe we'll go Luna Snow into Hobgoblin still. And then on ones, I mean, maybe it's White Tiger, maybe it's just Dracula, though. And then we could do the Black Knight route. I don't think I want to do that, though. I was actually thinking Forge could just be a solid ramp card, or I'm sorry, Surge, that sometimes gets you there. And sometimes not, but sometimes does. We also have access to Magic still. I think that's a pretty straightforward way to play it, maybe. And should just get the nod. Yeah, sure. We'll play Magic over Surge. On 3, what do we have? Well, we have Shang-Chi, but not really a Shang-Chi deck. Iron Patriot is not the craziest, following that up with Wave and Luna Snow as 2 different options. What else do we have? Juggernaut for a final turn play doesn't seem like it's exactly what we want to be doing. Oh, Doom. Oh, if we ramp, we could Doom. The problem is Wave wants to be our 5, not Dr. Doom. So maybe not Doctor Doom. Maybe it is Negasonic, or just, I think it actually is just Iron Patriot. I'm good with this. We have not added a 4 in yet, which is kind of surprising. 1, 2, 3, yeah, no 4. Esme, again, Prodigy, probably not. I mean, I like Esme, another card for Iron Patriot. Iron Patriot into Esme does give you real potential to drop cheap card from both of them on the final turn. Your opponent might just ignore it. There's a chance Gladiator still finds its way into this deck, though I don't think this is an Infinite deck, right? Luna Snow Infinite is not the combo, unless this is a... Oh no, Luna Snow can't get played with War Machine. So we already said Wave as our 5. Luna as our 6, and we're sticking to that. Our 7 could still be Anti-Venom. Yeah, I guess it's kind of a hybrid of the two previous decks. Wait, isn't Jubilee just better than Dracula always? And then you can blink the Jubilee too. I think that that's just always really good as a backup plan for all of this. Is this an Agamotto deck? I don't think so. Is this an ESON deck? I also don't think that. We could play an 8. The 8 could be Odin. Wave into Odin, wave into Luna Snow. Sure, there's enough interesting things that this can do. We're going to go pick up Jubilee in just a moment, and then get to finish off with one big grand ramp card. Huh. Could actually cut Hobgoblin if we wanted to play something else. Just like Arrow, or is Luna Snow actually good enough to potentially include... Oh, we can't include Odin and Age of Ultron, Infinity Ultron. But Luna into Ultron is worth considering. I don't know where Ultron went to. It's also kind of neat with Gore. I don't know if you want to Esme into Ultron, though it kind of works. You don't want to Esme into Hobgoblin. Alright, maybe I'm off that, and I don't know why I can't find Infinity Ultron here. Oh, there it is. This is a Jubilee deck. Let's blink. Infinity Ultron. Oh, it can't play Odin and Ultron, so we get to cut that. We do want some other big wave targets other than Gore, which doesn't feel like it's Magneto, but it doesn't feel like it's not Magneto. ESON, Ultron could be kind of a combo. And we've got a little bit of other generation for ESON. I do wonder if Magic still wants to be in this deck. Though I think it's just good enough ramp that it does. Can't play Agamotto and ESON. I might cut Magic for some other card generator. It's interesting. And then almost just feels like by necessity I have to play Magneto. Could be Eliath. I think it's just Magneto though. Did I have a 9? Well, I like 3 5s, 3 6s, just as far as the curve goes for the whole thing, and then Jubilee is just like if you magic. Okay, I think that this curve is actually really good. Yeah, this curve is really good, actually. Grab Jubilee here. Magic is the most awkward card in this deck. I'll take a look. I mean, we could play the card that I'm not going to remember the name of it before we find it. Mirage. Mirage could be a play over Magic, but it copies the lowest cost card, so I don't think it's super useful. Psylocke, also not super useful. So if you wave, you're waving out an ESON and then play Magic Iron Patriot on turn 5, or just Iron Patriot Esme on turn 5. Oh, or just Iron Man or Blink on turn 5, though you wouldn't want to blink the card that you just waved out. So there's definitely a little bit of awkwardness in this. Thaddeus could also come in instead of Magic. But I think this is good. Distribution of ramp.
We are going to finish off with a win with this deck. It just feels fitting to finish off with ESON in this ESON event. So let's see if we can make it happen. I am going to fist bump you, but I'm not going to return the snap because you could just be playing Hela and you could have a good Hela curve here. So we're playing it out here, buddy. But I don't know if I like Magic in this deck. I mean, it's like the backup plan, right? And I'll take it over nothing if I don't draw either Wave or Luna Snow or Esme. Hopefully I draw one of my 3 cost cards. But if not, we've got Magic into Jubilee into Blink, which could be an option. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we're going for the backup plan this game. I'm going to take away the negative zone. It looks like my opponent might also be representing that they are what's it called? A Luke Cage deck. Just with the Lizard, really? I don't know. Seems pretty reasonable. I definitely want to Jubilee and then Blink it. I have a slight fear we'll get an Ice Cube out of this into Necrotia, so I think I'll just Jubilee here. Ultron fills my hand. Wave could be a little bit awkward. Iron Patriot's fine. And then, yeah, we get to drop ESON into Mini Lab on turn 6, which feels like pretty good value. Shuri, not what I was expecting. All right, Ultron does indeed fill my hand, and we've got Infinity Stone. I always call them Infinity Stone. Mind Stone, Reality Stone, which could be a great turn 6. I think we're just going to get that value out of ESON, actually. Yeah, I'm just going to play ESON and let ESON play my stones in whatever order it decides. And I also get a free Magneto. That moves the Shuri, not a huge deal. What is their Shuri'd card? A Red Skull. That's pretty good for Necrotia. I do not have Shang-Chi. Luna Snow gives me a little bit of extra value there. Iron Man kind of gets some extra value here. Both of those things are kind of tough to deal with. I think we do snap now, though. I think we had a reasonable enough curve, and we're going to get... The one thing nice about Magic is it does give you a nice opportunity to get some ESON value. So the plan here is to Infinity Stone out something. Oh, wow. They've got some points. Yeah. We've got some points here, though, too. We might just have to Gore, or I guess Iron Man's always better. It's not always better, but it's probably better and allows me to play Iron Patriot here, which should be enough points over in Limbo. Do we get God if my opponent has Arnim Zola? They can't have Arnim Zola. I think Iron Man should be able to take it, and ESON did get played in this final game. We shrink their lizard. They've got Scar plus Titania, but we go just over the top here with an Iron Patriot. And of course, Iron Man takes the mini lab for us. That could have gone a lot worse if Mind Stone is what ESON selected, but ESON delivers in the ESON format and is able to get us the win. I don't know if my opponent is thumbs upping because they had a bad time or because they had a good time, but either way, that is going to be it for me. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.